Hello, sweet friends, and welcome to Southern Ways with Felicia. If you are new to my channel, I am Felicia, and to those who are returning, welcome back. I'm so glad to have all of you here with me, and in this episode, I am sharing a children's series from 1967 that a lot of people don't know about, but I think it is a cool children's series that I've collected over the years and wanted to bring out some of my copies to share with you. So the name of this series is called The Tollivers, and I discovered the Tollivers several years ago with my family when we were visiting Savannah, Georgia, and we visited one of our favorite bookstores that we like to go to whenever we're in the area, and that is Books on Bay. And a lady in that store, her name is Miss Betsy, and she's one of the owners. She is so friendly and was always pointing out books for my girls to read. And my daughter Nari, she's a big Nancy Drew fan, and she was in there getting a new book. And Miss Betsy was like, "Have you ever heard of the Tollivers?" And we had not. And once she showed me on her phones the books and the illustrations, I was hooked. And so I started a quest to try to locate some of these books because unfortunately, they are no longer in print. But before I get into telling you about the Tollivers, I would like to tell you about the author. And as you can see on the book, his name is Alan Stone. Alan Stone was actually one of his pseudonym names that he used for writing children books. He also went by Jerry West and a whole bunch of other names, but his real name was Andrew Stevenson, and I hope I'm pronouncing Mr. Stevenson's name correctly. He was born in 1910 and he died in 1975. His identity, as I mentioned, was kept secret for a lot of the books that he wrote until after his death in 1975. During his career, he wrote over 70 children books for young people, and many of those novels were mysteries. In a lot of his children books, there are families in there with children, and families of, with 5 children. The Happy Hollisters, I think they have 5 children. The Tollivers, they have 5 children. And oftentimes he would find storylines through his own experiences with his own children and his family, through their life and vacations and events that were going on in their lives. And the artists that he used for the illustrations on the book, they were done by an African-American man by the name of Mr. Mel Bolden. And Mr. Bolden, he was an artist. He was known as the Dean of African-American Illustrators. He was born in 1919 and he died in 2000. He was known as a respected freelance illustrator and printer, and he attended the Philadelphia College of Art. And as I've mentioned, Mr. Stevenson, he wrote the Tollivers under the name of Alan Stone, the Happy Hollisters under the name of Jerry West, and the Tollivers were not on the market long. And unfortunately, because they weren't on the market that long, they rebranded the Tollivers stories and reworked them and put them in the Bobbsey Twins, if you're familiar with that series of books. The Tollivers was published on January 1st of 1967. These books were actually the first African-American series of books to hit the market exclusively for African-American children. This was also the first African-American mystery series that was developed for young children. The books were designed to appeal to young African-American children to get them to reading. And this series included 3 books. And if you look on the spine, let me get them in order here. On the spine, it actually has the series number right here. These books were chapter books, and most of the books have 12 chapters. Let me check here. Yeah, they all have 12 chapters in the books. And the pages are roughly between 126 to 128 pages. And now I would like to share with you the book titles, beginning with the first copy, the first book in the series. And the first book in the series is The Tollivers and the Mystery of the Lost Pony. And I love this beautiful illustration that Mr. Bolden created to go on the front cover. And here you see the 5 siblings along with their pony. And this book is about the young Tollivers trying to track down their stolen pony and then going on to win a singing contest. So there's 2 stories going on in here, but this is what the cover looks like. And I would like to show you an illustration. And here's like a charcoal illustration, and it has so much detail. And then here they are in an alley looking around. And then you have the second book, which is entitled The Tollivers and the Mystery of Pirate Island. And this is the cover for this book. And this cover almost reminds you of a cover that you've seen on another book somewhere from your childhood. It just screams summer reading, mystery, plots and twists. And this book is about secrets that are on that take place on an island. There's secrets on the island, and the Tollivers children are coming in and trying to figure out what these secrets will reveal. So it is full of plot twists. And then the third book is, and I really love this cover, it has a vehicle on the front. And you see the children out front. And this book is The Mystery of the Old Jalopy. And the young Tollivers, they encounter an old jalopy, and they are going to unravel secrets about this old vehicle. And let me just find a illustration in here to show you. Every time I turn, I seem to turn to all the little boys, but I wanted to find one with some little girls. Now I'd like to tell you about the Tolliver family. So the Tollivers are a family of parents with 5 children, and they have 2 boys and 3 girls. And they live in a suburban area. We don't know what state they're in, but the name of the town is Claremont. And it is described as a small suburban town on the East Coast and not too far from the ocean. And on the back of the books, it shows you pictures of the family members. And I am going to read this to you to introduce you to the Tollivers. So we have Mr. Tolliver. He is a former football player, is slender and tall, and he owns a big drugstore and sings in the church choir. And then you have Mrs. Tolliver. She is petite and pretty. She teaches piano, takes very good care of her home, and still finds time to play with her lovely children. So here are the parents right here, Mr. Tolliver, Mrs. Tolliver. And then we move up to their youngest daughter, who is Luella, and she is 5 years old. And because she is the youngest, she is the family pet and is lovingly called Lou Baby. Then we have Gordo, who is 7 and is full of mischief. He is the funny man in the family, and he enjoys clowning and usually succeeds in making everyone laugh. So this is Luella, and then this is Gordo. And then we move up to Penny. Penny is slender, shy, and dainty, and she is 8 years old. She is quieter than the others, but likes to join in on the fun. And then next we have Jane, who is 11, and she has a happy, friendly disposition and can always be counted on to come up with a good idea. And then the eldest of the Tolliver siblings is Cleve, and he is 12. He loves horses and is always ready for adventure, plays the guitar, and keeps an eye on his younger brothers and sisters. So he is a great big brother. And so here are their pictures right here. And it says the Tolliver Adventure Series. Join the Tolliver family in these books about their exciting adventures. And the Tollivers are currently, unfortunately, not in print. So if you're looking for copies, you'll have to search on markets that sell books secondhand. Unfortunately, they were never reprinted after the first series, and I don't really think they lasted long on the market when they were introduced in 1967. Simon and Schuster Publishing hold the rights to these books, and hopefully one day I hope they will consider reissuing these books. I wanted to share with you this copy. It is the same name, but this one is The Mystery of the Lost Pony, but the cover is a little different than this one. This one was actually used in the library, so this is a library copy. It's, has this where the library card would be in there where you would sign the book out, and it's made of a very durable binder. And I was glad to get this copy. I didn't know that they made 2 different copies for these books. And when I went back to Books on Bay, I was telling Miss Betsy about it, and she was like, "That's really cool. You were able to find a copy like that," because they're very hard to find because they usually do not last. So now I would like to read to you a couple of pages out of The Mystery of the Lost Pony. Chapter 1, The Speed King. "Hey, Cleve, let me ride the lawnmower," cried Gordon Tolliver. "That's fun." "After I've cut my half of the lawn," his brother Cleveland shouted out over the noise of the machine. "You clean up the garage first, Gordo?" "Okay." Saturday morning was a time for work in the Tolliver home. Cleve, 12, had charge of the outside jobs, and 7-year-old Gordo was his helper. Inside, the 3 Tolliver girls were busy upstairs. Janice, 11, made the beds, while her sisters Penny and Luella vacuumed and dusted. Although only 8 and 5, they worked furiously. The sisters sang and laughed as they thought of their reward, pony rides. When the chores were done, the girls ran downstairs. "Mommy," said Luella, "I want to go to the horse club and ride the Sheepland pony right now." "Oh, Luella, baby," said Mother, "it's a riding club and the pony is at Shetland." She tugged one of Luella's pigtails playfully. "Well, Pookie looks like a sheep," Luella insisted. "When the chores are finished," Mrs. Tolliver went on, "we'll go riding." The Tollivers were a happy family. They lived in a comfortable house located on the corner of Ivy and Howe Streets in the South Hills section of Claremont, a small town on the East Coast. The Danbury River ran through the town and emptied into the ocean not far away. The children loved their town because they could row on the river, swim in the ocean, and go on picnics in the state park nearby. And their parents were always ready to join in the fun, especially now during the summer vacation. Well, that is a couple of lines out of chapter 1 of The Speed King. So that is your introduction to the Tollivers. If you have never heard of this children's series, I certainly hope that you have enjoyed learning about the Tolliver series. And if you grew up reading the Tollivers, please comment below. If you have any of their books, please share with me if you do. And if you're like me and you have a love for the Tolliver books, I'd love to hear from you as well. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And like I said, please leave a comment. If you like this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and I hope you will come back. And if you haven't, subscribe. And thank you for joining me. And until next time, bye-bye.